When you activate and do this work on and in yourself to awaken and integrate and heal and raise up your root chakra, kundalini, serpent, fire, power, pussy energy up through your body to your crown to be crowned so that you're sitting on the throne of your power, of your purpose, and of your pussy. You already know what it is. Okay? When you do this work on and in yourself, your serpent kundalini makes you wise. Remember, the serpent is wise. And the wisdom you activate within yourself as you do this work on and in yourself is you learn to protect your reputation at all fucking costs. Are you hearing me, my colony? You learn to protect your reputation at all costs, not because you give a damn about what anybody thinks, but because your mission and your purpose depends on it. Who and what you are called to become and unbecome depends on it. May no woman, no man, or no thing tear asunder. When you activate and do this work on and in yourself, you wish a motherfucker would talk sideways about you. Because what your ancestors have taught you is how to set the record straight. And if you're unable to, they will do it for you. When you activate and do this work on and in yourself, your reputation is important to you. It's important to you in relation to what you are here to do. Let me tell you why. Welcome to Alcheminity, because turning pain into power is sexy. And I'm your host and creator of this colony and the many colonies we're building around our globe, hell, around our galaxies at this point. I am your queen bee, Miss Burgess, if you're nasty. Also known as the Gypsy Empress, aka Nova. Now let's get into this, y'all. Listen. As you know, we are sometimes guided, most of the time, majority of the time, guided into looking up definitions. Even though we already know the meaning of them, Spirit guides us to look up the simplest terms sometimes, because when you look at a definition, there's a further spiritual clarity that you receive, that we receive. There's deeper downloads and uploads that open up. And so I looked up reputation, and this is what stands out to me. Okay? The overall quality or character as seen or judged by people in general. The opinion that people in general have about someone or something. An estimation about someone or something. The recognition of someone's character. The recognition of someone's character. An estimation is the last one, an estimation in which a person or a thing is held, especially by the community or the public. Okay? The reason Spirit wanted me to break this down is because when I asked you all what were some topics you wanted me to cover, and there were a few of you who talked about safeguarding your power and your energy from people trying to siphon it, from toxic friends or lovers, or just protecting your energy and power, even in the workplace, from people who try to abuse their power over you, so on and so forth. And so what Spirit wants you all to know, and what it shared with me, is when you do this work on and in yourself, you really are not too concerned about what people think about you. You're more concerned about what people ought to know about you. Do you see the difference? Do you feel the difference? There is a difference between what you think about me and what you should know about me. And as an activated one doing this work on and in yourself, you want people to know who the fuck you are and who you are not. This isn't about their opinion. This isn't about what they think. This isn't about how they feel about you, okay? This is about what they ought to know about you. When you show up in your power, in your purpose, sitting firmly in your activated pussy, okay? What people learn about you isn't from other people. It's directly from you. I have had people throughout my life, okay, approach me and saying, you're not at all like I thought you'd be. And I'd say, well, how did you think I'd be? Well, I don't know. You're just not at all how I thought you'd be. I already knew what that meant. I asked them because I wanted to see if they were going to be woman enough or man enough to tell me what they really thought, right? Or tell me what they had heard about me from somebody else. But no one ever really mans up or woman's up. Because if they come to you like that in the first place, they already don't have the energetic frequency. They already are not at the energetic frequency to tell you the truth, right? So you already have your answer. When somebody comes to you and says that to you, you already have your answer. I have people, now let me tell you something. When we activate, we're activating our intuitive abilities, right? So intuitively, you already know. I've had people who from day one of meeting me, treat me completely different at this point. At this point of them not even knowing me, but this point of them being around me, so to speak. I can say this for people at work for the most part, right? Those of you that know, I work as a flight attendant in my human self, right? My spiritual and soul is here with y'all, but my human self is there having to pay the bills. We know what it is, right? So in my human avatar, I'm a flight attendant, and people I was in ground school with, I knew judged me based on how I carried myself. I knew judged me based on what somebody else may have said about me. Now that we've all graduated and we probably have flown together, worked some flights together, or working together, working around each other, they want to be around me. They want to be next to me. They want to hang out with me. There's some of them are subscribers here on YouTube, right? And I know the difference clearly because, first of all, it's very clear, but intuitively, you can sense when a person's ideas or thoughts about you have changed, when their views about you have changed. Not that you give a fuck, because it's not for you to give a fuck, but you do recognize it. And the powerful thing in recognizing it is Spirit is wanting us to know that it's proof of the power that you have activated and awakened and carry in you. It's the proof of the work that you have done and continue to do on and in you. Because before, people don't know the type of work you're doing on and in yourself. They can feel your power and your energy when you enter the room, but you're not communicating with them about your power and the energy and the work you're doing on yourself. So they come up with all these types of summations about who they think you are because you carry yourself a certain way, because you dress a certain way, because you look a certain way, you sit, walk, talk a certain way. And so because you are a reflection of the work they refuse to do in and on themselves, we know this already, you become something that they are intimidated by. You become something they fear. You become something they hate on. Right? I had a young lady tell me one time, as a matter of fact, I won't even call it out like that. I could, but I'm not. It's not that important. But she is somebody that I invited on YouTube. And if you go back into some live stuff that I've done, you'll probably see her. But I was looking for places to stay, and she's a realtor, and she was helping me try to find a place to lease. Anyway, we were standing outside talking outside at one of the properties I was looking at, and she said, "You know what?" She said, "You intimidate me." And I said, "What? Say that again?" She said, "Yeah, you intimidate me." She said, "I don't mean that in a bad way. I just mean just the way you carry yourself is so confident that, it intimidates me." She said, "And I don't say that. I don't say that." But the fact that she did say that awakened a level of respect in me for her. Now, this came from a Black woman, by the way, but it awakened a level of respect in me for her because she was willing to be vulnerable. How many Black women is going to tell another Black woman that she intimidates them? We don't do that shit. And it may very well be true, but a Black woman would never say it. This melanin sister did, and that really awakened a respect for her. And, she went on to kind of explain, and I stopped her and I said, "You know what? Thank you for saying that." I said, I appreciate you and that, and I respect you so much. I said, but what you're intimidated by is really a reflection of the power that you also embody. You just haven't fully come into it yet. And she said, I feel that, So let's get back into the meat of this. When you activate and do this work on and in yourself, it is your job as an activated alchemist and chosen one to safeguard your reputation. Yeah. Set records straight about who you are by showing up fully in who you are. How do you do that? By showing up fully in who you are. Because when you show up fully in who you are, nobody can make anything up about you. Right? For example, the rumor about you could be, oh, she always wears purple shoes. She always wear purple. She always wear purple shoes. I mean, 9 times out of 10, she wearing purple shoes. Maybe not always, but she wear purple shoes a lot. But when people actually meet you, they see you with black shoes, brown shoes, yellow shoes, no shoes. And they are waiting to see you in some purple shoes, and they have yet to see you in purple shoes. Why? Because when you show up, you're showing up fully in who and what you are. Another way that you safeguard your reputation, and this is going to be let me just say this first. Another way you safeguard your reputation is actually by showing up so people can see you and feel you and sense you and actually have a conversation with you. Because when you're hiding, right? Many of the times, if you haven't come into your power, you haven't activated, you're hiding, right? There's a difference between isolation and hiding. We'll get into that in just a minute. But many of you who haven't come into this power aren't on the dark night of the soul odyssey to do this work on and in yourself, okay? And the way you come into your power is by coming into your pussy, all right? Healing that root chakra, raising that energy up to your crown, all right? But many of you have been hiding. And so nobody knew who the real you really was. You didn't even know who the real you really was because you hadn't done the work in and on yourself yet. And I only say that because I was that same person. And so I would stay in my house hiding because I just didn't want to be seen, right? Many of us on this Dark Night of the Soul Odyssey, we don't care about being seen. We don't want to be seen. We don't want to be out. We don't want to be socialized. We just don't want to do it. And so we stay indoors, right? But when you're on the Dark Night of the Soul Odyssey, you go from hiding to purposeful isolation. Now, on one hand, you're showing up when you feel guided to show up. When your intuition speaks and tells you to show the fuck up, you show up and you show up fully in who and what you are. There's a flip side of that where your intuition, in order to safeguard your reputation, where your intuition would tell you not to fucking go. Hello? Are y'all hearing me? There's a flip side of that coin where your intuition will tell you not to go to a place or to a person or to a thing or to a function, because this is a part of safeguarding your reputation. For example, I was invited, this was years ago, I was invited to go, there was a friend of mine, he passed away, and him and his wife, they were opening up some business, and in the business, they were going to be doing tattoos on one side, and I don't know, some other stuff for the body on the women and body wraps on another side. And I guess we were opening up like a little strip mall or something. I can't remember. And so he said, Gypsy, always called me Gypsy. Gypsy, I want you to show up and just kind of, bless the place and come bring your energy and just kind of bless the place. And I was like, I'll think about it. I'll see. Now, no, initially I was like, oh, okay, I'll see what, give me the dates or whatever. Every time they would call or he would call to, or message me about showing up to something they were doing, I was most of the time there. And I wasn't listening to my intuition during these times. I was on the Dark Night of the Soul journey, but the very beginning initiation stages of it. And so I was sensing things, but I didn't follow through with them because in my mind at that time, when your mind isn't fully activated, right, because you haven't raised that pussy power up to your mind, my mind wasn't fully activated. So at that time, I had this vulnerable, immature way of thinking. And the thinking was, well, they're my friends. I don't want to disappoint my friends. In my mind, they were my friends, right? I don't want to not show up because I said that I would. When you activate and do this work on and in yourself, one hand, you may say you're showing up, and the next moment, you may have changed your damn mind. I changed my mind. I don't love you no more. I don't love you no more. I don't love you. Hello? Right? When you activate and do this work on and in yourself, you don't spare feelings like you used to. Okay? Yes, I know I said I was going, but I changed my mind. Oh, you ain't gonna show up. Why you ain't? I really don't feel guided to show up and do that tonight or today. Maybe some other time, but thank you for the invitation. And so anyway, he asked me to show up, and guess what? That was one of the first times I followed my intuition, and I did not go. I didn't even message him to say I wasn't going to make it. I didn't call, I didn't text, I didn't say a damn thing. The next time we talked, he was like, well, we was looking for you to show up. I was like, oh yeah, I apologize about that. How did it go? Hope everything went well. And I felt a strong, no about not going. A lot of it had to do with the people he kept in his circle. There were a lot of toxic feminine energies around him. He was a very good-looking guy. He was married, by the way. Even the person he was married to was won't go there. And so the person he was married to, they had lots of female friends, and they had a lot of competitive, jealous, venomous, female, not even feminines, because remember there's a difference between feminine and female energies around that I didn't feel like dealing with, because every time I did go around, it was always love and cool with him, right? But every time I went around, it was always this clucking cluster of females that the energy would be so thick you could cut it with a knife when I showed up. And I didn't feel like dealing with that. So I didn't go. And so Spirit reminds me of that. That was a part of safeguarding my reputation, because, at that time, again, this was years ago. All right. This was like, let me see, 8 years ago. All right. Over 8 years ago, at that time, I used to do cannabis. We would do cannabis together. We all hang out and stuff like that. So I was pulling away 8 years ago from doing cannabis. And so I knew if I showed up to that, it was going to be weed in the air everywhere. There'd be, trap music. There'd be the stank, nasty snares. The chicks who hung around him, they were all twerkers. So they twerking. They were very hood, very ghetto. All right, I'm going to say it like that. It was hood. All right. Just hood. And that was never my MO. Like, I just never related to that type of energy. But I would go around because he was cool people. He would do videos for me sometime. He was a videographer, so he would do videos for me sometime when I was building my tech company at the time. That's a whole nother story. But so I would go around because he was such just a cool person. But the people he kept in his circle were not. And so Spirit reminds me of that, and I'm sharing that with you because there are going to be times, many times, if you haven't already, even today, where you're going to refuse to show the hell up to something or for someone. Why? Because your reputation is at stake. As an activated alchemist and chosen one, they are watching. Your spiritual guides are watching. Your ancestors, non-physical beings, the ancient ancestors are watching. And those in the physical form here are watching you. There are people watching you when you don't even know they're watching you. Especially for many of you who are going to be going into the public eye. You know people who run for office, like just anybody who's run for office, maybe the president of the United States or whatever, secretary of something. And what happens when you become a celebrity too, just a singer, a rapper, or a model, whatever? What's one of the first things that the tabloids try to do? They try to pull up some dirt on you from way back. Hello? They try to pull up some dirt on you from way back to hold it against you, to paint you in a negative view, to paint you in a negative light in the public view. And so one of the reasons you want to safeguard your reputation as an activated one, because many of you are being called into positions of power. Many of you are being called to into the public eye as politicians, as leaders of different countries, as singers, models, raps. So in some way, shape, or form, you are going to be in the public eye, whether you're a teacher or a therapist or mentor, speaker. You are in the public eye. If you are a hairstylist, if you are a makeup artist, you are in the public eye. People are coming to you, seeing you, and they are looking at you as a representation of who you say you are. Right? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying we have to have spotless reputations, because part of what it means to be an alchemist is having gone through shit and turning it into sunshine, right? Y'all know my favorite saying. I gotta say it. I got a girl whose pussy's so good. When you throw it in the air, it turns into sunshine, right? For my Harlem Nights fans out there. So I'm not saying we have these squeaky clean background. Your background, it ain't squeaky clean shit. But sometimes we all got to swim upstream. You ain't a saint, we all are sinners. But you put your good foot down. So the winner, I respect that. Then you're so, and you're all that, plus some cream. Then you're humble, man, I'm numb your feeling. I can feel everything that you bring. Okay, listen. I'm not saying we have to come from squeaky clean backgrounds. That's not what it is. We wouldn't be alchemists if that were the case. We wouldn't be phoenixes who have risen into the dawn of our new days if that were the case. The shit was our fertilizer. Hello. But as you activate and do this work on and in yourself, you wake up to the fact and to the truth. Your wisdom is now awakened because the serpent has shared its wisdom with you. And it's saying, no more of that. No. Let me tell you, I was, I'm going to out this. I was on, and no offense, girl, if you're ever hearing this, I'm not saying your name, I'm not saying no names, but I'm just sharing the story. But I was on a layover somewhere, and one of our crew members was really tipsy. Okay, we were all tipsy, honey. We were having a good time. We were all tipsy, and we had a long enough layover where we could enjoy ourselves. And so she got, some people get so tipsy to the point where they want to bend over and twerk and everything. So we were on the street walking, coming from dinner, and it was nighttime. We're on the street, and she goes up to a light pole or a stop sign because there was some guys in a car who pulled up, and their music was blaring, and they were playing something. It was boom 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 boom, and she was like, hey, and she went and bent over, holding on to the sign, and was twerking. And so I backed up and stood way somewhere away. Like I walked down the sidewalk and just kind of stood on the corner. And the rest of the crew, they kind of were just like, oh yeah, kind of laugh. But nobody was really in support of it. Like they were, but they weren't. And they didn't really know which way to go. They didn't know whether to support her or join forces with me in solidarity, right? And being independent. And the reason don't get me wrong, I don't have nothing against twerking. I think it can be very healthy if you're talking about activating the root chakra. Hello. But I'm so tired of seeing twerking, y'all. I'm just over it. I'm fucking over it. But the reason I backed away and walked away is because I didn't want to be associated with the ratchet shit. I didn't want to do it. Now, if you talk about salsa, girl, we can salsa. We can do, I love my African moves, my African dances, which I don't even know what they call, but baby, we can do that all day. When you're talking about bending over and your ass hanging out and twerking on a sidewalk, street corner, bitch, please. Okay. Yeah. So I backed up. No judgment, but it's just not something I want to be associated with. Why? Because you know how many people are out on the sidewalk taking pictures and all that kind of stuff. And you talking about running for office and they got a picture, video of you standing next to somebody who's twerking and they think you're a part of it. Senator-elect Miss Burgess fill in the blank with your name, Senator-elect such and such. The video surfaced of Senator-elect such and such, or video surfaced of a potential Miss Universe or whatever it is that you're going into. A video surfaced of them out here in Puerto Rico twerking on the street corner. Like, I'm just saying. And if you were twerking on the street corner, that would be your biz naive. It would be your biz naive. But if we're talking about your mission and your purpose and what you're here to do, that's some serious shit. What you're here to do and activate, what you're here to create, what you're here to build, what you're here to give birth to is no joke. Okay? And so when you activate and do this work on it in yourself, you safeguard your reputation, even if that means pulling away from people, places, things that are not in alignment with who and what you are. What you are becoming and unbecoming. Does this make sense? Now, there was, again, a couple of subscribers who say, how do you, let me go to it, y'all. Give me 1 second. So there were a couple subscribers here. I think Kimmy Vision was one. Kimmy Vision, shouts out to you. And Teresa Nurturing Divinity. Both of these are kind of the same, but it says, how do you protect yourself from people who misuse power or wish to siphon your power? That was from Teresa Nurturing Divinity. And Kimmy Vision said, protecting yourself from predatory lovers and friends while social climbing. I think they're kind of along the same lines. But this has to do with protecting and safeguarding your reputation as well. How do you do this? By showing up when your serpent kundalini wisdom tells you to, so that the records are set straight about who you are. Because when you show up, you are providing the clarity about who you are. Again, if somebody say you wear purple shoes all the time, but you show up and you're bare feet, right? Or you're in yellow shoes, you're setting the record straight by just showing up. So you're showing up when spirit guides you to show up. And then on the flip side of that, you're not showing up when spirit guides you to not show up. All this helps to protect your energy and your power as you're activating. Okay. As you're social climbing, especially when we talk about safeguarding your reputation, when you're social climbing, you definitely want to listen to when it's a good time to show up, what events to go to, what gatherings to go to, whose house to go, whose house to eat at or not eat at. Hello? Many of you, like for me, many of you know who you would hang out with on a Saturday night or who you would never let even know where you live. You cool with just talking to them right at work. Hello? It'll just be right here at work. It'll just be right here at passing. You will never know where I live. This is a part of safeguarding your energy power. One of the biggest mistakes that I made, and many of you probably made as well, when I was on my Dark Night of the Soul journey, like in the beginning stages before I was fully coming into my power, I was inviting people over to my house that I worked with. So many people knew where I lived. My frenemies knew where I live. Haters knew where I live. The doppelgangers knew where I lived, because these were all people who I thought were my friends. These are people who I worked with who I thought were my friends. And let me tell you something. How you safeguard your energy too. Let me just say this and I'll come back to the point. Do not disregard those nudges that come up. So many times we do that because we're trying to be friendly, trying to save face, or trying to be overly humble. But you know that energy shift when you see it. Like you ever were having a conversation, like just think back, you're having a conversation with this chick, okay? This girl who you thought was cool, you work with, you thought y'all was friends or whatever. And you brought up good news, something that happened to you. And she kind of looked like a little smirk, like, okay, that's what's up, girl. That's good. All right. And she kind of like, but you saw that shift. Like you saw that. Okay. Trust that when you see that. That is how you start to safeguard and protect your energy from predatory so-called lovers and friends. I remember telling a guy one time who I was dating and getting to know that I had won my first award as a journalist. It was my very first award when I was a journalist. And I showed it to him. It was sitting on my mantle, my fireplace mantle in the place that I was living in. And I showed it to him. I was like, oh, I won my first award. We had our award show and I won my first award. And he said, oh, okay. That's good. That's good. That's what's up. He went just like that. Oh, okay. And I was like, just looked at him. Do you know I ignored that and pushed it under the rug? And I told myself this was a part of suppressing. This is how we suppress and demonize our power. Okay. And I told myself, oh, maybe I was too boastful. Maybe I sounded too boastful. Maybe I came off, too proud. Maybe I shouldn't have shared that. Maybe that wasn't important enough to share. And so I taught myself not to share good news to that person or to people because it wasn't a good idea to share good news. Because I didn't know how to deal with the response of not having I didn't know how to deal with not having someone's support or love or admiration. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to deal with hate. I wasn't equipped to deal with hate or jealousy or competition. Because like many of you, us feminine energies, we're all taught to be overly humble, to be so giving and nurturing. All of that bullshit. That is what has kept us stuck, stagnant. That is what has kept us broken out. That is what's kept us out of our power, out of alignment with our mission and our purpose. That is what kept us unattractive. That's what suppressed our beauty. That's what took away our confidence. We were teaching ourselves to accept bad behavior. We were teaching ourselves to accept we were teaching ourselves that it was okay, not even okay. How do you want me to say this, Spirit? We didn't know how to take being disliked. So we taught ourselves to hide in order to not be disliked. You want to safeguard and protect your energy and your power from predatory lovers, so-called friends, people trying to siphon your energy. Trust that shit when you see it, and you know what I'm talking about. When you see that little slide, that little fake smirk, that little fake smile, that little fake congratulatory thing shit, trust that when you see it. It was real. You ain't tripping. It was real. Hello. So going back to, I would invite people to my house. So everybody who had something against me knew where I lived. They knew where my personal safe place was. So for those of you who have the copy of Activate, have my book. It's in paperback and ebook on Amazon. If you haven't got your copy, click the information Linktree link in the description. It'll guide you to get your copy. But I talk about this in the book. For those of you that have the book, you can vouch for it in the comment section. But remember the picture of the knife? It was a picture of the knife, and that knife was stabbed into the ground right at my bay window. And so the ritual with the people who were doing spell works against me, they were doing spell works to attack my foundation, to attack my stability, to attack the structure of my home, including my body, because your body is your home as well. So I include that picture in the book. But the only reason they were able to do spell works against me, the only reason people are able to do spell works against you directly is because they know your address. Hello? They know your address. Or they know somebody that knows your address. Let me tell you, people will go through people to get to you. Oh, you know where such and such live? Oh, I heard such and such live over here. They know somewhere in the area, but they don't know exactly where. Oh, I heard such and such live over here. Oh yeah, she lived right there. Oh, right. Okay. Now you know what I'm saying? They will go through people just to get to you. So how do you safeguard and protect your energy from people siphoning it, from predatory lovers and friends, is by safeguarding where you live. That is very, very important. You do not divulge your address. And in most cases, don't even divulge the city you're in. Right? That was number 2. The first one was what? Trusting that shit when you see it. Okay, you see the shift in their energy, you see the shift in their face, you see the shift in their tone. You can hear and feel the shift in their tone. right? You can hear and feel the tone of hate, of jealousy, of toxic competition. You can feel it, you can sense it, you can hear it in their tone. Trust it. 2, safeguarding where you live. All they need is an address. Okay. 3, don't show the fuck up for that person, for that place, or that thing. Listen to your serpent kundalini energy. I don't care if you got your clothes on, your makeup done, you looking cute. If you want to go out, go on and go out, but don't go there. Go take yourself to have a nice glass of champagne or red wine at a nice rooftop bar somewhere else. Since I know how it feels when you get dressed and get your makeup on. You be like, damn, I'm looking cute. I want to be seen. Go somewhere else. But you don't got to go there. I don't care if you're all the way dressed. Your intuition tells you not to go. And it probably was already telling you. You were just ignoring it because you're like, I really should go. I said I was going to be there, or this certain person's going to be there and I really want to meet them. I don't give a damn who's going to be there. I don't care if it's the president of the United States. Not this one, but I don't care I don't care what big star is going to be there. That shit's not important to you because you're activated in your star energy too. It would be a privilege for them to actually meet and see you instead. Hello? Right? So again, number 3, don't show up if spirit guides you to. Number 4, show up when spirit guides you to. And when you show up, you better show all the way the fuck up. Fully activated in your power, in your purpose, and in your pussy. So people will never question who you are or what you are. They won't question it because they will feel you when you enter the room. So the shit that people have tried to say about you to diminish your reputation, they will see and feel it for themselves that was a damn lie. They will see and feel it for themselves. Next thing you know, they're going to be looking at the people that were talking shit about you and trying to down and degrade your reputation. They'll be looking at them, asking them questions like, I thought you said she was like this and like that. I thought you said... What? I don't know why I'm hearing Bebe's kids. Bebe's kids. Remember? Oh, this is so perfect. Y'all remember? I don't know if y'all haven't seen Bebe's Kids. This is definitely a Black culture nostalgic movie. I don't care what culture you are. Watch Bebe's Kids. Okay. I know I got my butter pecan Puerto Ricans up in here. I got my sexy Indians. Okay, I got all of you. I got my girls from Egypt here. Shouts out to you. I know y'all are all over the globe around in the colony here. But listen, if you haven't watched Bebe's Kids, watch it. It should be free on YouTube. It's a very old movie. But there's a scene in that cartoon. It's animation. It's a scene in that animation where there was a woman. She was in the bathroom. There was these 2 other ghetto girls that were hating on this really pretty woman. And after they finished talking to her and getting to know her, because they had all these ideas about her, they were talking shit about her. Oh, she thinks she all that. Oh, she think so they tried to corner her in the bathroom, and she was nice to them. She was like, okay, we all, they had their little exchange, and the pretty woman left. And the other 2 ghetto hood rat characters, they were like, one was like, well, she wasn't all that bad. She was nice. And the other one was like, yeah, right. Y'all remember that scene from Bebe's Kids? That is what it will be like when you actually show up. That's what it'll be like if they happen to run into you out in a public place because they don't know where you live. They don't have the 411 on you. The only thing they got or heard about you is from the people that hate on you or that are jealous of you or that are in competition with you, right? That's the only information they got. Then they finally run into you in public somewhere. Or you show up to an event that you felt guided to show up to and they just happen to be there. And they finally get to experience your energy because guess what? Your energy is an experience. Ooh, to be in your energy is a whimsical, magical experience. They are aroused. They are titillated. They're inspired. They're motivated. They're turned on in more ways than just one. And it's all because of you. Your energy is an experience. So when they get to experience you, that is what their response is. Dang, she wasn't bad like they say at all. She was actually kind of sweet. She was cool as hell. The other one's like, yeah, she is. Right? That is how you safeguard your reputation. That is how you protect your power and your energy from predatory lovers and friends and from anyone that attempts to siphon your power or your energy. If this resonated with you, please like this. Okay, make sure you get up in the comment section. I want to hear from you that this resonated with you. If this resonated with you, put in the comment section, protected. Okay. Oh, there's one other part Spirit wants me to break down. Okay. When you're safeguarding and protecting your reputation, okay, remember, you're not just activating your beauty, you're also activating your beast. So another way to safeguard and protect your reputation is by telling people where they can back off, right? And you don't do this in a loud, ghetto, argumentative way. There is a way that you can tell people and draw that line and telling people where they got you fucked up at. And in the most divine way, ask your spirit guides what that will be, what that would sound like, how you should say it or how you should write it. Let me tell you, confronting something head on is another way to protect and safeguard your energy from siphoning and safeguarding your reputation. Confronting people, places, and things. Yeah. Don't let shit fester. I got to add this. This is going longer. I got to say this. Listen, don't let things fester. I'll tell you just a quick story. When I was working in the special needs population as a consultant, as a developmental disabilities consultant, there was this one chick that wanted my job so bad. She wanted my title so bad. She stirred up all kinds of shit in the workplace. The energy had shifted from this high vibrational workspace to this toxic workspace when she came along. She wanted my role so bad. And when she came in, and the energy shifted, and I noticed the little sly remarks she would make towards me sometimes. I would ignore it, wouldn't say anything, because I knew where it was coming from. But just because I knew where it was coming from didn't mean everybody else knew. Sometimes you got to out shit. Hello? Sometimes you got to call shit out, not one-on-one, but in front of everybody. And you don't yell about it, you don't argue about it, but you call it out. You speak on it, you call it out of hiding, because those energies like to slither in corners, and not like our activated Kundalini serpents do, but like worms do, like pests do, like locusts do. Okay, they like to slither around. So a lot of the times you don't let something like though we're gonna look at these energies like pests. If that's a cockroach, those energies slither like cockroaches. They hide in the corners, they hide in the dark spaces, and they whisper shit in people's ear, and then they go run somewhere else to another dark corner and go whisper some other shit. Right? You see that roach crawling across the fucking floor. You saw it run under the couch, honey. Lift that couch up and expose the roach. Expose the rat. You saw it run over there. You saw it run in that corner behind that painting. Remove the painting, lift the couch up, lift the rug up, and call out the rats and the roaches. Because guess what? When you're coming into your power and your purpose, there are no rooms for molds in the camp. Because what do molds do? They moldy shit up. They dirty shit up. A lot of the times when you do this work on it in yourself and you activate your beast is going to help you call people out on their shit in front of everybody so that everybody knows. Because a lot of times people are so blinded. They're not paying attention. They're just blinded, or they're easily bamboozled. They're easily manipulated, right? Especially when these people are not in their power and their purpose, they're easily manipulated. They can't see that there's this, I think it was research where this person was adding like a drop of color to this water over time, like little teensy drops of color to this water, and nobody noticed. They were still drinking the water. Nobody noticed because it was just enough, just a little bit to where nobody noticed. Over time, the water had turned completely blue or green, whatever the color was, and people didn't notice it until it was too late, and they were already drinking the poison. This is how it is in workplaces. This is how it is when you're social climbing. When you see that rat, when you see that worm, when you see that cockroach running in corners and running, call their asses out on the shit in front of everyone. Say, hey, I notice that you sent an email to such and such, or I noticed that you said such and such, or, I noticed a shift in the energy, and correct me if I'm wrong, I could be wrong, but I do notice the shift in the energy, and since this shift in energy, this has happened, and I'm not very comfortable with these things happening when I'm here, when I'm around. I'm not very comfortable with these things happening under my watch. And so I like to address these things out and in the open where everybody is involved. I'd like every stakeholder involved. Are y'all hearing me? You sent out blast emails. You sent out emails and you CC whoever the fuck is responsible for being a part of fixing this problem. Because one thing that we never want to do is try to handle something just between you and somebody else. Right? Call it out so everybody can see it and everybody can be aware. So now people are on alert and they're able to see the shit. How you safeguard and protect your energy? How you safeguard and protect your reputation? Call their asses out when it's absolutely necessary. And make sure you do it in your power, in your purpose, and with your pussy, because you will remain in your power, in your purpose, and your pussy. Make sure you call it out in a way where you remain sexy. Hello? Are y'all hearing me? All right, that's it. Spirit said that's it. That's it. That's it. I'm done. All right, y'all. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe, comment. Make sure you become a member over on patreon.com/Alcheminity. There's some yummy, juicy, delicious stuff over there. Don't forget to get your copy of Activate. And for those of you who are ready to work one-on-one, you haven't fully come into this power of your mission, of your purpose, of your pussy. You know you need some help doing that. Email me, Timmesha Burgess @gmail.com. One-on-one exclusives are available. I have one more opening for September. If not, the waiting list is for October. Anyway, I will see y'all. I will speak to y'all in the next episode. Ciao for now. Mwah.